Alright guys, we're in Bakersfield right now. We stopped at a gas station to put some gas. I'm with my boy Racespec.
What's up guys? What's going on?
He's got the VMP Super Snake. And we're about 20 minutes away from Famoso Speedway. We're gonna get some runs in at the track, see what the cars run. First time hitting the track with the Shelby, so I'm really curious to see what times it's gonna put down. I'm really curious to see what Racespec's car is gonna put down too, man. This truck is a fucking monster. It's an all-wheel drive truck, making about 800 to 900 horsepower. We got both the Shelbys out here. I was telling Ray, man, how sick would it have been if we would have trailered the GT500 on Ray's Super Snake?
I mean, let's buy a trailer hitch and let's get it done, bro.
Let's do it, man. That'd be baller. That'd be such a sick setup.
Dude, I'm gonna peel off your wraps and give me black on black. You know what I mean? That'd be baller.
Yeah, it would be sick, man.
But hey, driving him together is pretty sick too, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Down to the highway and it's Shelby on Shelby.
Exactly, man.
It's all American, man. This is what we live for.
Exactly. Yeah, it would have been so sick, man, to get trailered by this. All right, guys, we just pulled up to Famoso Speedway in Bakersfield. We got about an hour to go before we start racing. So waiting for more cars to pull up. And it should be a badass event, man. There's some sick cars here. Curious to see what the GT500 is gonna run. Honestly, man, it's 9s or bust. If I can't run a 9-second pass, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. The main thing is I'm gonna be fighting traction. I'm still on a 20-inch rim with the DYNO NT555R2, and at this power level, man, I honestly don't think these are gonna hook. But we'll find out. We're gonna get some runs, test and tune, and make some adjustments if we have to, and go from there. Alright guys, we're not having the best of luck here at the track. First pass, the car bogged and didn't go, so I let off. Second pass, I had a clutch overheat because when you do a burnout on these cars, the clutch gets hot and it disengages and you can't even drive it down the track. So third pass, I had my RPM set at 3,000 on the launch control and it just blew the tires off. Fortunately, we actually were able to make a pass on that. I'm gonna lower the launch control and we'll try it out and see how it does. Let's go, man. Finally made a good All right, guys, I just made another pass. I lowered my tire pressure to 18 PSI and I dropped my RPM to 2,500. The car hooked good. I'm gonna increase my launch to about 3,000 and we'll see how it goes. We just ran a 10.0 at 145, but the RPM, we can still go a little bit higher, so I'm gonna increase it a little bit and try to hit that 9-second pass before we go. We only have one pass left, so hopefully we can get it. All right, guys, I want to do a recap on my track day and let you guys know how it went. And first and foremost, this car is a process to get down the track. So I'm going to go over all the different modes and options that you can run at the track. And I made about 10 passes, so I got a good feel of what this car likes and doesn't like. So I'll explain to you GT500 guys who want to take the car to the track what modes work the best and what's the best way to run this car at the track, because once you're there, it takes a lot of time to get this car set up. I'll go over all the modes and the best way to run it at the track. Right now, the car is in normal mode, which you're gonna have to start in order to initialize your line lock burnout. The car's not gonna let you do your burnout unless you're in normal mode. And I recommend you guys turn traction control all the way off. That way you guys can roll out of the burnout. If your traction control is on, you're not gonna be able to roll out of it, so you're gonna get a way better burnout with it off. Instead of pulling up to the staging lanes and your burnout box straight up in normal mode like this, I found it was best to already start in your track app and have your line lock already set up. You can drive up to the burnout box like this, so that way it's already set up. You don't have to turn off your traction control and you don't have to set up your track apps, so it's already ready. That way you can get through the process a lot faster. From here, you want to push OK to initialize the line lock, and once you see the wheel pop up, it's going to tell you to engage. You have to firmly apply brake and hold. So one thing that I found is once you engage and hold, do not release the brake. So I'll show you right here. So once you hold it, it's going to tell you to press OK. At this point, do not release the brake. Stay on the brake and then push OK, because if you release the brake, it's going to exit you out of the burnout and you're going to have to redo this all over again. So press OK while still holding on to the brake, and there we go. The burnout's initialized. So now you can start doing your burnout, and once you're ready to exit the burnout, you just push OK and your line lock is released and you can roll out of it. Now from here, you're gonna see a screen. This is still gonna pop up. Now, this is where things get tricky, because you don't want to race the car in normal mode. It's just that mode isn't going to be your best bet. So you want to, from here, just push the snake again, and boom, it exits you back out onto the main screen, and you can toggle through your modes and drive the car in whatever mode you feel like is best. So now I'm going to talk about what is the best mode to run the car in at the track. I started off in drag mode because it's self-explanatory. Drag mode is going to soften your suspension for better launches and optimize your car for the drag strip. But there's something very, very important I found out about this mode. So you guys who have your cars tuned, you know that our red lines are increased to above 8,000. But in drag mode, the car stays in automatic mode and shifts itself at 7,500 RPM. You cannot shift the car manually yourself at 8,000 plus RPM. So drag mode is completely out the door. You don't want to use that mode because you're going to be cutting yourself short at the minimum 500 RPM. The next mode I ran the car in was normal mode. I ran it in normal mode with traction control off, and it just blew the tires right off. I tried 2 passes with it in normal mode, traction control off, and my car just couldn't hook. My car makes over 900 wheel horsepower, but I have a 20-inch rim, so traction was tough to come by in that setting. The next mode that I ran it in was sport mode, and I ran that with traction control off as well, and same thing, I just blew the tires right off. Normal mode, sport mode, traction control off, did not work for me. The next mode that I tried was track mode, and in that mode, you guys know that traction control says off, but the traction control isn't completely off 100%. The nannies and the computer is still giving you some type of traction. So my first pass in track mode, I ran traction control completely off, and same thing, it blew the tires off. So the next pass, I ran it in track mode, and I did not touch traction control at all. I just made a pass, the settings that it comes in that mode, and I was making the best passes in that mode. So track mode and leaving traction control as is in that mode. From my personal experience, I made over 10 passes that day, and track mode worked the best for me to get the best ETs and 60 foot. So the best 60 foot that I recorded was a 1.6, and that was with traction control as is in track mode. Another thing to note is when you run traction control off, your launch control is gone, so it just gives you RPM, so you're still able to get on the 2-step, but you don't have launch control. If you leave traction control on, the car's still going to give you launch control and stabilize your launch for you, but I found that with traction control on, it limits your power a lot and you tend to bog out of the hole. I would recommend running traction control off or just running the car in track mode. I wouldn't mess with leaving traction control on if you're trying to get the best times. As you saw in the clips, my car ran a best of 10.0 at 146 miles per hour, and man, we could sneeze and we would hit that 9-second pass. I was so close. What I feel held me back from running that 9-second pass was the whole track day I was focused on dialing in the car and pretty much testing what works and doesn't work. So it wasn't until the last hour and a half that I found what was the best mode to run the car in. Essentially, I ran out of time, and in between passes, I was hot lapping the car, so the car was making passes fairly hot. So I feel if I had more time to let the car cool down in between passes and set my RPM at the optimized launch, I could have hit that 9-second pass. On my best passes for the day, I had my RPM set at 2,900, but I still feel the car had more RPM left in it. I just ran out of time, but if I had more time, I would have increased it slowly. The RPM maxes out at 3,200, so I would have increased it to probably 3,000 to 3,100, and I feel like we could have got a 9-second pass with the RPM set at that. I'm extremely proud of this car, man. The car has basic mods, like it just has a tune on E85 with the JLT intake, 265 pulley, and headers. Of course, you need fueling mods to run E85. You just need the ID 1050X injectors at the least. I'm running 1300s. With those basic mods, you're gonna have a 9-second car trapping 146 miles an hour. So this car it's insane, man. It's such a badass car. I'm extremely proud of it. Like it is fast as hell, and it drives like stock. So what's next from here? I just ordered my drag pack because I need to get off of these 20-inch rims. That's holding me back. I ordered a skinny up front and a 18-inch in the back. I'm not gonna tell you which brand I went with. When they get here, I'll drop a video of the install so you guys can see them. And in terms of engine modifications and making the car faster, I'm actually in the process of working with my shop and another company on developing a new product for the GT500, which is going to be huge, man. This product coming out is going to be a bad product, and it's going to help the 2020 GT500s make some insane power. So I'm super excited for that. I'll drop videos and keep you guys up to date with what's going on. From here, we're gonna port the supercharger, do the throttle body, upgrade our fuel system because the ID 1300s are maxed out at 1050 wheel horsepower. I plan to make more than that, and this current setup that I'm going with is gonna make well over 1050 wheel. So I need to upgrade that. I'm gonna upgrade to a return style fuel system and upgrade to ID 1700 injectors. Right now I have the 265 pulley, so I'm gonna drop down to either a 2.5 or a 2.4. We're gonna take the car back to the track and see what times we can throw down with the drag pack and more power. So that's gonna wrap up this video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.